Hey, what's up? I just wanted to make a quick video talking about my League starter for 3.25, Settlers of Calgar League. This is going to be mostly unscripted, just because I'm playing the game, I want to keep playing, so I'm just talking over while I'm playing. So as you can see, I League started Whispering Ice Trickster. Again, this was also my League starter in Affliction League a couple seasons ago, and when I saw the patch notes for this league, when I saw that Determination and Grace were getting nerfed, and we were getting new armor bases, I knew that Trickster would be insane, and I was right. As you can see, I have 14,000 energy shield, and this is still really early. My gear is still it's okay, but it's like it has a lot of room to grow. So there's still a lot that I can improve. I can probably end up with almost 20,000 energy shield by the end of fixing this character. While I was leveling, I leveled with Frostblades just until I could switch. I actually bought literally the first Whispering Ice that was posted on trade for 1 Chaos. And I switched to it as soon as I could, which was in like the middle of Act 4. No issues leveling Frostblades. I could have just kept leveling as Frostblades, really. But I just switched right away, and it was fine. I think I switched right after I did my first lab. It might have been before. I don't remember if I had this set up in my first lab or not. Obviously, while leveling, you're not really going to have the cast while channeling set up because it takes too many gem sockets to set up. I just had like a 2-link Whispering Ice with like I forget what gems were in it, like increased cold damage or added cold damage, and I don't know, inspiration or something like that. Yeah, Trickster is just crazy this league because we got these new armor bases. Necrotic armor. This has so much base armor. And then like this Hubris Circlet, or actually not Hubris, it's a Lich Circlet now. This has 456 energy shield on it. It could have over 500. It did before. I just had to get resist, so I have them crafted on right now. But it has an open prefix that I could craft hybrid energy shield on. So anyway, this build was it was a little bit tougher to get up and running than it was in Affliction League, and I think that's for 2 reasons. One is that we can't use Hatred anymore because it doesn't do anything for spell cold damage. It's only for Fizz as extra cold. So if you're like Ethereal Knives cold, then you could use it, but not for like a natural cold spell. I guess Glacial Cascade could use it, something like that. What was I saying? Sorry, like I said, this is pretty much completely unscripted. I'm just having fun playing the game, so I want to keep playing. Oh, and the other reason that it was kind of tougher to get started than it was in Affliction. In Affliction League, we had the Wildwood Ascendancies, and I started as Warlock, which got like a free 15% more damage and less damage taken, basically. It wasn't quite that, but it was pretty close. This here will be a pretty good demonstration of just how tanky this build is. This is Minotaur. I'm just going to sit here and face tank it. I have other bosses spawning. They're not really going to do anything to me. Yeah, this is a very tanky build. It did take a bit to get to this point. I switched actually to CI, Chaos Inoculation, when I had like 2500 ES, and I was dying a lot. But it scaled up pretty quickly because you very quickly get a lot more intelligence. Early on, I used Skitter bots for a damage aura, just until I could get a little bit more mana reservation efficiency and fit in. I'm using Zealotry now. I'm using Zealotry, Purity of Elements, Discipline. I was using a low rank Clarity to help with mana regen, but I don't think it's necessary anymore. When I had less intelligence, it felt like it was necessary, but I'm not really sure if it is anymore. It does feel like either Assassin's Mark or Frost Shield got more expensive since the last time I played this build, because once I drop my Arcanist brand, it definitely feels like it's eating my mana very quickly. I'm just going to do a Chimera here because that's the next one that I don't have witnessed. Oh, speaking of that, I was going to mention that I've completely finished all my Atlas objectives. This was all solo. Did all 4 of my Void Stones, did the Fear, did everything. When I did my first 2 Void Stones, this character probably had less than 20 Chaos worth of gear equipped. When I did my 3rd and 4th Void Stone, probably 5 Divine or less gear. And probably didn't need that much either. They were both easy. And then at this point, the character probably has about 20 Divine of gear or so. I haven't really had that much currency this league yet, so it can't really be worth that much yet. I'll go over the gear later in this video once I'm out of this map probably. But yeah, it was really smooth getting everything up and running. I mean, it was like there was like a speed bump at the start because I was really squishy at first when I switched to CI with only like 2500 energy shield. But once I got over that hurdle, very, very easy. Endgame kind of melted. When I did the Feared, I basically face tanked it. I didn't even try to dodge anything. I could tank Atziri Flame Blast, I could tank Shaper Slam, Elder Slam, Cortex Slam. None of them do anything to me, really. I also have like 84% evasion with my flasks up. I'm resist capped. I do want a little more fire and lightning resist because I'm not capped into fire and lightning exposure right now. Actually, I'm cursed with LE weakness right now, so that's part of that. I am actually capped if I'm not cursed with LE weakness. You know, I want to get a little more resist so I can be safe against exposure and curses combined. Not super necessary right now, especially when I have 14,000 energy shield. It's not like it's a few missing resist is going to get me killed or anything. Actually, when I was running Ultimatum on one of my Atlas trees, and yesterday while I was playing, I don't have a recording of this unfortunately, but I had a full 1 minute lag spike. Full 1 minute. I hit F1, got the bar up, looked at it. It said latency like 60,000 milliseconds, or network was at 60,000. And then it came back. I actually didn't disconnect. It came back, and I was still alive. In wave 8 of an ultimatum. I just sat there tanking everything. The build is very tanky. Let's just leave it at that. Yeah, my gear at this point, I don't think I have a single piece of gear that I spent more than 3 Divine on. I guess I spent 3 Divine on my 6-link armor base, and then I crafted on it with Deafening Essences of Spite, but it only took less than 30. I only bought 30 to hit what I needed, so it probably took like 10, honestly, because I used the leftover to craft my other stuff. So it's about 3 Divine for the chest, maybe a little more. But nothing else on this character cost any more than 2 Divine. Whispering Ice is like, it was like 5 Chaos for a perfect one, and then I just 6-socketed it myself. I have 2 of them actually, they're both perfect, I think. I'll check after. One of them doesn't matter. The cast speed on the Castle Channeling setup doesn't matter. That's this one. Yeah, this one's perfect, so they're both perfect. I guess I didn't mention that. I have a weapon swap. You might see my bars changing sometimes. That's because I am weapon swapping between one Whispering Ice with a self-cast setup, because it's way more damage, and one Whispering Ice with Castle Channeling setup, because it is just smoother for mapping. I also wanted to talk about what happened last league and how I said I was going to make content for last league for characters and stuff, and then I didn't make any content really other than my initial video at the start of the league. I don't know if I want to talk about that now or save that until the end. I think I'll save that until the end because it's not really the focus of this video, and I'm just about done this map anyway. And it's not really that important, so like if you don't want to listen to it, you don't have to. I mainly wanted to focus on talking about this character and just how smooth it is, how strong it is. Trickster is so good right now. I guess I didn't really explain why the item bases matter so much for Trickster. But if you are familiar with the Ascendancy already, then you already know. And the other part of the reason that I knew Trickster would be very good is that we got a Determination and Grace nerf. These Trickster builds never used Determination or Grace. Like, you might use Grace on some versions of it, but not on this build. There's just no need for it. I have 35,000 evasion without Grace. Just absolutely no need for Grace. Determination, also unnecessary. The build, 1, can't fit it. 2, gets damage reduction elsewhere anyway. So you just don't need armor. Okay, that's this map done. I'm gonna go over the passive tree and the gear. So passive tree looks like this. If you watched my previous videos, actually I forgot to put D&D on, didn't I? Yeah, okay. If you watched my previous videos, you've seen this, pretty much this exact tree before. This character's level 95 right now. Ideally, when I'm higher level, I will have a large cluster jewel here. I will probably spec out of these crit points and these crit points. Probably remove these points once I get some more resist. And then move my points mainly into cluster jewels, possibly also down here into these staff nodes, into this block node, and then this crit chance and crit multi node. Because by doing this, I can get the 30% defenses while wielding a staff, and that does apply to energy shield, which is a ton of energy shield. It also applies to spell damage, actually, because I'm using Tranquility, which increases to energy shield into spell damage. Okay, so this is the passive tree. The reason you path like this is you can see that the orange path is highlighted. That is for split personality. It's telling you the path that split personality is taking, which is over here. The further away split personality is from your starting location, the more stats it gives you. And you can get +5 intelligence per travel node to get to it. So this one is giving me +81 intelligence, +81 flat energy shield. This one, 76 dexterity, 76 intelligence. The reason I took the dex one is because these new bases, necrotic armor, have huge attribute requirements. This requires 173 dex. I'm honestly not sure if it's even worth it because there's nothing else in the build that requires even close to this much dex. You used to run Hatred, which was 155, but can't run that anymore. So there's nothing in this build that requires more than, like, what's this, 108 dex on Culling Strike. This doesn't even need to be leveled. 117. This will go up to, like, 125 probably when it's fully leveled. It's like 125, 130 dex on Awakened Cold Pen. That's probably the highest dex requirement in the whole build, other than this body armor. And, for instance, I could be using either a Sadist Garb or the new, I think it's called Torturer Garb, with less dex requirement, and then have Energy Shield instead of dex on the split personality, and that might work out better, but I'm not really sure. I think overall this is probably better because it does still combo with Trickster to give the increased Energy Shield. You get, based on the evasion rating of your body armor, you get Energy Shield, and based on the energy shield of your helmet, you get evasion. So this helmet is just crazy. Like I said earlier, it has an open prefix. I used to have hybrid energy shield crafted on it, and it had, I think, 502 energy shield, which is just insane for a hat. But right now I need the resist. Like I said, I'm not quite at the point where I can remove resist and still be safe against curses or exposure. Like these 2 points here are just for resist. This crafted resist is just to keep me safe against cold and lightning exposure. The anoints are obviously Mystic Talents and Tranquility. They are easily, by far, the best anoints for an int-sacker build, or, well, a spell one in particular. Those noises you're hearing in the background are my baby Brutus pet. He's right here. He's kind of funny. I got him from a mystery box. I had a bunch of points left over, and I liked the stuff that was in the mystery boxes this season, so I bought a bunch of them, and I got the Rubik's Cube map device, which is pretty cool. Anyway, more about the gear. This body armor, like I said, I bought the 6 link of base for 3 divine, I think. Might have been 2. And then I crafted with Deafening Essence of Spite. I used maybe 10 or so, and I hit this, which was good enough for now. This can go way higher. Like, that's crafted evasion and energy shield. If I had a natural roll, it would be so much more. I actually crafted another one of these, but it was only a 5 link with, I think it had 2,800 evasion and 600 energy shield. So this can go way higher. Like I said, like by the end of the league, if I stick to this character, I'm probably going to break 20,000 energy shield pretty easily. Boots are the Stampede. This is because Castwell Channeling setup, Cyclone slows you down. Stampede overrides that slow, so you always are at 150% movement speed. And you also don't need to run a Quicksilver or Silver Flask this way, so Stampede, pretty good item. Everyone knows about it at this point, I think. Rings, Anathema, and Shavron's Revelation. These are pretty cheap. I think like 20 chaos total for both. And then I put catalysts on them because I've been farming Ultimatum, so I've had catalysts myself to put on them. I guess I'm not really sure what they're worth. I think the intrinsics are only 1C each, though, so like another 20C for each piece of jewelry. The amulet, I bought the base for 2 divine. It was unidentified when I bought it. Again, I crafted with Deafening Essence of Spite until I hit this, which was pretty good. It had an open prefix, and I Exalted Slammed and hit Mana Leech, which is pretty useless, but didn't really have anything else to do with it. Again, belt, synthesized intelligence base, just like the amulet. I think I also bought this one unidentified. This was also 2 divine for the base. And similar story, crafted with Deafening Essence of Spite until I hit something usable, tier 1 energy shield, tier 2 strength. And I said that's good enough for now. Gloves, I think these were also crafted with essences. Intelligence. No, this is not an essence roll. I might have used a lightning resist essence on this, actually, like a low tier one, because I think I crafted these pretty early. So these gloves can also be crafted significantly better. The implicits, so the gloves, these are the implicits I want for now. Cold exposure will change to something else later once I have level 5 awakened cold pen, because it gives cold exposure on its own. I'm not sure what I can get instead of cold exposure. I guess like suppress, but I'm not stacking suppress on this build anyway. It's unnecessary. What else? Implicits here. That Fizz as Chaos, I'm pretty sure is new. I don't think that even existed before this season. But it does compete with... there's a mod that's like 1% less damage taken per 230 intelligence at tier 1, like with the lesser Icors? Embers. Icors. Lesser Icors. And it's with the tier 3s, so the Grand, it's 1% less damage taken per 200 intelligence, which would be, for me right now, 10% less damage taken. I am honestly not sure which is better. I'm not sure if 10% less damage taken is better or worse than 11% of is taken as chaos. I would have to plug that into Path of Building to figure it out. But this isn't like my end game body armor. It is good enough for now, so I just haven't bothered. Yeah, this gear, like I said, it didn't take too much to get up and running. That's pretty much it for gear. Like I said, weapon swap for Whispering Ice. This one is Cyclone, Castwell Channeling, Power Charge on crit, Inspiration. You want these in the 4-link specifically because Inspiration makes Cyclone cheaper. Power Charge on crit. This just means if your Cyclone also crits, then you get Power Charges sometimes. It's not really important, but this is what you want in the setup. Whispering Ice does not need to be 6-linked for all of the gems in it to support Ice Storm. So in the self-cast one, it doesn't matter if it's linked at all. It doesn't matter whatsoever if any of these are linked. It could be a 0 link and just have 6 sockets. The Castwell Channeling setup, though, obviously does matter. You at least need Cyclone and Castwell Channeling linked together. What else am I doing here? So because I have Anathema, I have curse limit equal to power charges, which is 6. So I'm using, I think, 4 curses here. So cast on damage taken at level 1, this goes off all the time. Punishment, Hex Touch. So actually, let's go in order. Cast on damage taken, Hex Touch, Ball Lightning, level 1. All of these, cast on damage taken is level 1, Ball Lightning is level 1. Ball Lightning of Orbiting. That means this Ball Lightning of Orbiting goes off all the time. Because this cast when damage taken is level 1, it cannot cast these level 20 curses, but it can cast the level 1 Ball Lightning, which is linked to Hex Touch, which will apply the 3 curses. So Punishment, Frostbite, Elemental Weakness. So 3 curses from the body armor. And then there's Assassin's Mark in here on an Arcanist brand. So that's 4 curses. I could be using 2 more, but there just aren't really more curses that are useful to me. Like the next most useful ones would be probably Enfeeble and Temp Chains, like just defensive curses. Gem links, what else do we have? Frostblink, this doesn't need to be linked to anything. It is linked to Culling Strike, just to be useful. Clarity, like I showed earlier, I'm not even using that right now. Frostbomb, this is just for dealing with regen. Not even necessary to be here. This could be something entirely different. You don't need it at all. Up here is my auras. Skitterbutts I'm not even using. I'm using Discipline, Purity of Elements, and Zealotry. Ideally, I will get an Enlighten here. I just haven't bought it yet. Just hasn't been necessary, so I will eventually. And then maybe if I can get enough reservation efficiency, I will try to squeeze Aspect of the Spider into this build later on, because I meant to do that the last time I built this character, and I just, I didn't. I messed up when I was crafting something, and I ended up not getting Aspect of the Spider. So that's it for the character. I'll leave a POB for it in the video description. But it's, like I said, very, very similar to what I played in Affliction. Very strong. You already saw how strong it is. I can actually do the Formed right now. I'll do that while I keep talking. I should probably craft it a little bit. Probably the biggest drawback to this build is there are a lot of map modifiers that are annoying. They're not unmanageable, but they're annoying. This is manageable. Things like monsters cannot be leeched from, that is pretty much a brick, because the build relies on leech so much. I guess I didn't really show the Ascendancy, but it's pretty basic. Escape Artist, because it's a ton of evasion and energy shield. Soul Drinker means you're always leeching energy shield. And you get overleached. It's like Slayer, but it's for energy shield. Polymath, it's a lot more damage. This build paths through a lot of different masteries, so you get a lot of damage from it, and just a lot of sustain while mapping. And then the next one's just Heartstopper, because it's on average really good damage reduction. If you don't like Heartstopper, you could go Spellbreaker instead. It's just very hard to actually cap suppress on a build like this, because you need intelligence on everything, which takes a suffix. So to cap suppress and resist and still have room for intelligence is almost impossible. So I just go Heartstopper. It's good enough. I think ideally I will eventually get Forbidden Flame and Forbidden Flesh for Assassins. I think Deadly Infusion, the damage or crit damage per power charge one. Either that or Born in the Shadows, which is the Saboteur defensive node, which is very strong. I did not talk about jewels. This jewel I just bought earlier today, I think. I think this was like 10 chaos. I might have found this one. No, I found this one. Yeah, I found this one on the ground. Was it this one? This one. This one was 10 chaos. I bought it earlier today. This I found on the ground. It's only here because of the resist. It's not even a good jewel at all. This is like a less than 1 chaos jewel. I just need resists right now until I can get better rolls on my gear. Like this could have a better cold resist roll. This has no resist on it. This could have better fire resist. This amulet has no resist on it. This helmet would be nice if it had like a natural resist on it. Anyway, jewels. What else do I have? Jewel right here. This was, I think this jewel was a divine. This was a 1 divine jewel that I bought yesterday. I do have a Watcher's Eye over here. This is strictly for the ES on hit while affected by discipline. And the +1 max resist was just really convenient for me. This Watcher's Eye was 2 divine, I think. Mainly for the ES on hit. The reason for this is that ball lightning setup that goes off all the time. You might have seen my energy shield was just constantly being refilled, and that is because every time that ball lightning goes off, it hits many, many times, especially because it's ball lightning of orbiting, so it stays around me and keeps hitting the same enemies. And each one of those hits gives me energy shield on hit. It's a very effective way of sustaining the character. This is the reason why when I lag spiked for a full minute in Ultimatum, I didn't die. Is just because of this Watcher's Eye. Then up here, Cluster Jewel with Cold to the Core. This is really important. This is a ton of damage on this build. 1% increased damage per 25 intelligence. Disorienting Display. This one not as important. I just got a Cluster Jewel with something that worked, and then 2 split personalities. I already went over those. Ideally, I will have another Cluster Jewel with Cold to the Core. Right now I just have Natural Affinity with Nature's Patience. I talked about this last time I made the character, but basically this puts vines on me while stationary. The vines give me damage reduction. It's like 1% less damage taken per vine and 2% chance to deal double damage per vine. So 20% chance to deal double damage and 10% less damage taken. If you move, you lose some of the vines. They're supposed to slow you, but because I'm using Stampede, they don't, so they don't have any negative effect. They are just strictly positive. And it lets you kind of just sit here as a turret and spam Ice Storm until whatever you need to kill is dead. So I'm just going to show the formed here to show like more of an end game encounter, even though I already showed just like face tanking Minotaur. I'm just going to sit here and face tank them because they can't really do any damage to me. Yeah, this build it's something. It's pretty tanky, pretty good damage. Can't really complain. Alright, that was, pretty easy, pretty simple. Strong build. I think that's a pretty good demonstration of how strong the build is. Atlas trees, I wanted to mention these. I wanted to go over what I did for my Atlas. My starting tree I don't have anymore, but it was this tree, except instead of all this essence stuff, I didn't have any of the essences or Rogue Exiles. I went into Betrayal over here, and the Kirak nodes down here, and then I took the Gateway to go over here and grab the other Kirak nodes down here. And then I went up and I grabbed all of the map tier nodes and this, and then all of the Kirak nodes. I actually went straight up through the middle at first and then down to the Betrayal nodes, and then took the Gateway for the other Kirak nodes. Went up, grabbed this stuff, and eventually grabbed the stuff up here, but you don't need any of this stuff until you're in tier 14s because it doesn't do anything until then. And then once I was done clearing my Atlas, I spec'd into this. So this is my Meticulous Appraiser tree. It is Harbingers, Essences, and Rogue Exiles, because all of those things, as far as I know, are not affected by quantity. And also the Maven drops in Destructive Play. So I figure just turn everything into rarity and farm Rogue Exiles and bosses. Harbingers are not affected by rarity as far as I know, but and neither are Essences. But since they are not affected by quantity, they don't lose anything by taking Meticulous Appraiser. Whereas Rogue Exiles always drop a full set of gear, so Meticulous Appraiser is very, very good with them because it increases the rarity on what they drop. My other trees, depending on what I have for maps, like what surplus of maps I have, I'll either farm Exarch with, this is Delirium, Beyond, and Alva, so this is like a juicer tree, basically. Just a lot of mobs spawning all the time. Exarch altars, Delirium, Beyond Demons. Unfortunately, Beyond Demons, as far as I can tell, do not drop gold, which is pretty annoying. And then Alva for more monsters, and for temples, because temples are really easy to make now. It's really easy to profit off of them. Last tree, Harvest Ultimatum, and Eater of Worlds altars. Also, I thought there was something else on here, maybe not. And then quantity, because harvest is affected by quantity. So the idea with this tree is just take quantity altars from Eater of Worlds, unless you see a big one like a Grand Icors or Divine Orbs, and then you obviously take those. But unless you see those, you just take quant, and then you do the harvest at the end of the map with all the extra quant. And then I have ultimatum in here. This is just because I like ultimatum. I don't think it's even affected by quant, but I like ultimatum, so it's in one of my trees. As far as what's actually being effective so far for currency, so far it feels like Essence is actually the best out of everything I've done. It feels pretty noticeably above everything else as far as currency per hour. Harbinger feels pretty weak. Ultimatum feels okay. Delirium feels very strong. Beyond, I'm not sure, because it's hard to judge how much Beyond is giving, because it just adds mobs and they drop things. Like, I think I had a Divine Orb drop from a Beyond Demon, but I don't know if it was from that or from a natural mob. I've had one Tainted Fusing drop, and that was it as far as Tainted currency. Like, that's it. I have, like, some Tainted Jewelers, and this is it. This is all I have for Tainted currency, and I haven't sold any. Other than the one Tainted Fusing that dropped. So Beyond might be a dud, especially because it doesn't drop gold. But it does add a lot of mobs, so that might be enough for it to be worth it. I'm not really sure. That's it for Atlas trees, I think. So real quick, let me talk about what happened last league and why I didn't make any content. So why I didn't make any content last league. Last league, Necropolis, was the strangest league ever for me. It started out disastrously. I actually streamed League Start, and if anyone watched that, you know that I got to Act 3 and then my game crashed. Every single time I entered the Act 3 town, the Sarn encampment, I could not enter that instance without crashing. So I just made another character. I just restarted the game. And I restarted from 0. And then once I got to Act 3, I decided, okay, let me try my first character again, because my second character was able to zone in. And yeah, I was able to zone back in on my first character, so I just kept going on my first character. And eventually, the same thing happened with Act 8. And then I made 2 more characters that also got stuck in Act 3. I did eventually get my first character to endgame, but at one point last league, I had 4 characters that all could not progress past the Sarn encampment. 3 of them were stuck in Act 3, 1 of them was stuck in Act 8. Something was wrong with the Sarn encampment instance. I don't know what it was, but that instance was crashing the game. Almost 100% occurrence. I just got lucky and I got my main character through once. So that was really, really frustrating, and I just didn't want to make content when I was feeling that negative about the game. And last league, anyway, once I got to endgame, it was fine. And I was playing an Ignite Elementalist, which very strong mapper to start off the campaign, or to start off the league with. So no issues there. But I actually had 0 Divine Orbs drop until I had full cleared my Atlas. And that was the first time that had ever happened. Funny enough, that happened again this league. I've been getting other drops, so it's fine. It's just funny that I've never seen that happen, and now it happened twice in a row. But after not getting any Divine Orbs or any lucky drops at all for the first week last league, I opened a map and I hit the All Flame Ember or whatever it was called for monsters have a chance to drop Divine Orbs. I guess it wasn't All Flame Embers. It was the other part of the league mechanic where you open the map and then it has modifiers, haunted modifiers, I think they were called. So yeah, I had that and I got 12 Divine out of one map. I was okay. There's my Divine Orbs that I've been missing. I opened the next map, the very next map, and it had gear, like unique enemies gear drops or rare enemy gear drops were converted to currency. And so I put a Rogue Exile All Flame on that map that I had. I didn't have to buy it. I just had one. And I pulled 35 Divine out of that one map. So I went from 0 Divine to 47 Divine in a matter of 2 maps, just by complete chance. So that was like throwing me off on what I even wanted to make for content, because I had an idea for, like, you know, this kind of content I was going to make, and then just things kept changing so rapidly last season that I didn't even know how to parse it into content, really. Well, that's kind of good. And the next day, so after getting 47 Divine in 2 maps, the very next day, I was just playing around and using Ancient Orbs, and I got a Headhunter in 34 Ancient Orbs. So, if that wasn't enough, I heard about the one Scarab abuse that happened last league, and I asked on Discord one of my friends, what's that Scarab called? And he told me it was, I think it was Divination Scarab of, I think it was Completion. I forget which one it was. But anyway, I thought, I'm sure I have that one. I've seen that one drop. I haven't used it. I'm sure I have it. So I checked my stash. I had 2 of them, and they each sold for 38 Divine. So that's another 76 Divine. In a matter of 2 days, I went from 0 Divines to 12 Divines, then 35 Divines, then a Headhunter, and then 76 Divines. Like, at that point, multiple Mage Bloods worth of wealth, because Mage Blood had tanked because of the Scarab abuse. I had no idea how to even parse that into actual content, especially because I wasn't streaming it. If I had streamed that, then those would be cool moments to have shown on a stream, but it just didn't happen. Anyway, that is why I didn't make any content last league. I don't know what's going to happen this league. I don't know if I'll be making more content. I don't want to promise anything when I didn't follow through last season. And at this point, I've been rambling for way longer than I intended this video to be. So that's it for now. I do have at least one more idea for another video. We'll see if that actually gets released or not. I hope everything's going well for everyone's league start. So yeah, good luck, and you know, have a great day. Enjoy the league. It's really fun.